Knock, knock, everybody. Derick Van Ness here, investor, wealth strategist, and life adventurer. And I've got a doozy for you today. Everybody is wondering what's going to happen with crypto in 2022. And before the end of this video, you're going to have my thoughts on the topic. You're going to probably have a different way to think about crypto, all the different things that are happening there. And I'm going to do my best to take that and all put it right down the middle for you so that you have a really clear and clean idea of what's going on in this world, because there is so much happening, right? Now, let me just tell you a little bit about my crypto story or experience here. Been working with it pretty seriously for a year and a half now. Spent a ton of time reading, have a bunch of friends who are into it. And with having said all of that, I have a fair share of money in crypto in different ways and places, and I'll explain a little bit more about that and how I approach that. But at the end of the day, here's the two things you need to know. One, this is not investing advice because I'm not an investment advisor. These are my thoughts because I literally get asked every single day by clients, what's going on with crypto? Should I be putting money there? Shouldn't I? And that's not a super easy answer because of number two. Number two is I am not a crypto expert. I can safely say that almost nobody is a crypto expert. Here's what I mean when I say that. Cryptocurrency is such a brand new thing. And it's literally like saying someone's an internet expert. It is so big, there is so much encompassed in this that it's crazy to believe that anybody is a super expert. It's also brand new. Literally 2 years ago, people were hardly talking about crypto. I mean, yeah, there were small circles, but it is such a new thing, and the direction it's going to go, in my opinion, is still up in the air. But there are a couple of things that we know for sure. One is, nobody's an expert yet. And number two is, crypto in my mind is as big as the change in the internet, right? When the internet came along. And here's why. Because crypto is a new way to utilize the internet in so many different ways. Now, there are things like Bitcoin, which is a currency, and it's like a store of value, kind of like owning gold. It doesn't necessarily do anything, but you can put money there, you can hold it, you can use it to pay for stuff. But it's totally different than almost everything else in crypto. There are some stable coins and some other things that are kind of on the currency side, but a lot of the rest of crypto is totally different than Bitcoin. So like Ethereum, yes, it's a currency, but it's really a currency used for transactions, right? And so all these other things are kind of fall into a couple categories. One is their networks, which is kind of like if we compare it to the regular internet, like the service providers, right? They handle all the transactions that are going on in crypto, and they have a cost. Usually you use their cryptocurrency to pay to have transactions. Like when you run a credit card, there's a transaction fee. Well, if MasterCard said you have to have MasterCard crypto coin in order to process payment, then you would have to buy those cryptocurrency tokens in order to use your credit card. So Ethereum is a lot like that. Right? And then there are a lot that piggyback on or do something similar to Ethereum. They're parts of the network. They're trying to make the network faster, cheaper, safer, all of those kinds of things. So there's a ton of stuff that kind of falls into that category. And then there's a bunch of stuff that falls into, I'll call these like, the comparison is maybe like an app or a tool. Right now, a lot of these tools do stuff within the network, within the blockchain. If you don't know what blockchain is, that's probably a whole nother video, but the really short version is blockchain is a decentralized way to verify transactions. So if you go to buy something on the network, they're not just going to go to one central mainframe that says, yes, you have the money or the crypto to do that. There's going to be a bunch of different computers that come together and verify that. And if they don't all agree, then the transaction won't go through. Now there's more to it than that, but that's the really simple version. That way some guy like on a TV show, CIS or something, can't just like hack the mainframe and pull a bunch of money out. They would have to theoretically fool all of the other computers that are verifying this blockchain transaction so that it doesn't go through, right? So it makes it a lot harder to hack into these things. Theoretically, it's safer, but it's also still in its infancy, so there are flaws out there. So a simple way to think about where we are in crypto, because people often say, is it too late, or did I miss? Did I miss the opportunity to make big money in crypto? And the short answer is yes and no. Yes, did you miss some of the early stuff? Sure, we all missed it if we weren't already in, and some of us were and some of us weren't. But if you just look at the size of crypto and you look at the size of other asset classes, because we'll call it its own asset class at this point, it's very small. It can probably go about 100x from where it is right now if it was to get as big as like the bonds and commodities and some of the other markets that are out there. So I think that we're still very early in the crypto game. This is like, we're in the place where like AOL was brand new, Amazon was brand new, Yahoo was a thing, Napster was out there, and they'd gone way up, and people would be like, oh, am I too late to the .com game? The truth is, there's still so much to be built out. I think we're still in its infancy. Having said that, that doesn't mean every single thing is going to win, right? Like if you had bought Yahoo stock back then, you probably didn't win. If you bought Tumblr stock, which is a social media outlet, you probably didn't win, coincidentally owned by Yahoo. But if you bought AOL, you probably didn't win. But if you bought Apple or you bought Microsoft or you bought Google, those of course exploded. And I believe crypto is going to be the same way. There's a bunch of technologies, there's a bunch of networks, there's a bunch of tools. Some are winning right now and some aren't. Just like at one point, Yahoo was the primary search engine out there. And then things went awry, Google came along, did it better, and went through that. Just like MySpace at one point was the primary social media, and it was kind of the first thing to the market. And then along came Facebook and a lot of the other social medias and swept that up, right? AOL was first to the game as far as internet and gave everybody free CDs to do dial-up internet, and they kind of got swept away. I mean, they're still around, and all these are still around, but not what they used to be. There will be cryptocurrencies that fall into that category. There's going to be winners, there's going to be losers, and I'm trying to draw the comparison so you have a way to think about crypto. The difference in crypto is instead of investing in like a company, like buying stock in Google, you're investing in a technology, right? And there's going to be a bunch of other companies that use that technology, and that's how it's different. But it's very similar in the sense that if you believe that's a good idea and it's going to go somewhere, maybe that's something for you to consider and research and see if it's a good fit for your portfolio, right? Now, the good and the bad of crypto is because we're so early on, and there is relatively small amounts of money in crypto relative to a lot of the other asset classes out there. That's why it's very volatile. That's why we see the big ups and the big downs, because big companies, hedge funds, institutions, billionaires can swing the crypto world just by conversations, by tweets, by whatever, because it's still small enough that a big move makes some waves. Eventually, my belief is that it's going to get big enough that the volatility will go down. We'll kind of find our level there. People who are in it will be in it because they understand it, they believe in it. It'll be a lot less speculation. It'll be a lot less trying to guess the next hot crypto and really like investing in long-term technologies. At least that's where a lot of the big institutional investors and hedge funds and those kinds of groups, I believe, will end up. That's why there's so much volatility. It's small enough, it's new enough, people are still trying to figure it out. There's a lot of guessing happening. So another big topic that comes up a lot in crypto and people ask me all the time about is NFTs. What are NFTs? So NFT stands for non-fungible token, which if you haven't researched that is like a foreign language, right? What it basically means is it's a unique token that cannot be duplicated. And the reason that that's important is it's basically a digital title. Like you have a title to your car, you have a deed to your house. It's just the digitization of those types of things. It's really caught on in the art world right now. And so that's why everybody's, buying monkeys and CryptoPunks and these kinds of things. And it's like a piece of digital art that the NFT behind it says, you are the unique owner of this, because with digital art, it can be pushed all over the internet for free. People don't have to pay you royalties, but ultimately it's the fact that you own the original. It's kind of like if there was the Mona Lisa, there's people who can paint something that looks just like the Mona Lisa and they can sell that. People sell posters of the Mona Lisa. So they all look the same, but ultimately there's only one original. And the reason we know it's the original, well, besides the fact that it's in the Louvre, is that there is verification and certification that that is the original. That's kind of what an NFT is. Now, what makes NFTs really exciting is they aren't just going to be in the art world. I believe your ownership of almost anything is going to be backed by an NFT eventually. It creates so much more certainty and security, because if somebody has a car, if you own a car, someone can't just like steal that car, or even if the title was in the glove box, like today they could take it and go sell it to someone else. Now it would have to be digitally recognized. That token would have to be verified by all those computers on the blockchain in order to say, yes, you do own this car or this piece of art or this house, to be able to sell it to the next person. Someone can't just like forge a deed, go record it at the county courthouse, and all of a sudden they own your house. With this digitization, we're going to have more security, more layers of verification, and I believe that's going to be the big future of NFTs. Sure, the art world, the music world, maybe the fashion world, there's going to be a lot of this. There's going to be a lot of people wanting to own a scene from Star Wars or the first tweet. Jack Dorsey sold that recently. There's going to be a lot of stuff like that. I would say that's a little more gimmicky, but it's going to find its place. I believe the art world and some of these other places it's going to do some really great things for them, because what NFTs do allow is every time that a painting or a piece of art is sold, you can set up the NFT where there's additional things to that. Like every time it's sold, maybe the original artist gets 10% of the sale price. So just like musicians get royalties over and over, or book authors get royalties over and over, every time a piece of art is sold, it can be set up so that the artist gets money from that every single time. So it can start turning into streams of income, which is really, really exciting for artists, and why I would suggest that artists look into backing their work with NFTs that have this kind of compensation built into them. I think long term, it's going to make a massive difference in the art world. It's going to allow a lot more people to be artists for longer term, and I think it's going to be revolutionary. Now, that's just going to be one tiny section of the world. All this other digitization, like real estate, cars, boats, all these other kinds of real tangible assets being backed by NFTs, I think is going to be even bigger. And there's going to be someone who's going to have to provide that technology and secure it and do the transactions and all of that. And that's all going to be done on the blockchain. So that's another sort of case for the fact that this technology is not going anywhere anytime soon, right? So these are a bunch of the things that are going on. They're all different things, right? It's kind of like on the internet. Well, we have people's websites, and we had companies like WordPress that created websites, and then we have social media, and then we have things like Wikipedia, and then we have search engines. There's all these different categories that all fall under sort of the internet. It's the same thing in crypto. We have all these different types of assets. So when you speak of crypto, try not to think of it as just one big bucket. I know right now everyone's kind of doing that because it's like the new stuff, and it's kind of anything that's done on the blockchain is considered to be crypto. And it is a new way where everybody has a little bit more say in what's going on because of the decentralization. Nobody owns crypto, right? Nobody owns Bitcoin. It's not a company. Sure, Ethereum has a guy who was an inventor, but really it's taken on a life of its own. And that's what's going to make crypto different. It's not just owners and users as two separate things. They're going to kind of be the same, because as you use it, it makes it more valuable. And if you own more of those tokens, it's kind of like owning stock in something. It's going to go up. So there's going to be a blurring of ownership and usage, end user and stockholder. So it's very cool that way, because everybody's interests are going to be a bit more aligned. It's going to be totally transparent and hopefully a lot more secure. So here's my suggestion. If you like crypto, if you want to know more about crypto, there are some good websites. There are some good YouTube channels. You can certainly Google and look around. There's a ton of knuckleheads talking about it. But I think, like, if you want to know the basics of what are all these tokens, what do they do? Of course, you can get that information through a lot of places. I like a channel called Whiteboard Crypto. They break a lot of stuff down. They make it simple. There's a ton of different ways to use crypto with things like staking and yield farming and a bunch of other things. I'm not going to get into all of that, but I just wanted to let you guys know a couple of things. One, nobody's an expert in crypto right now. Two, it's going to be huge. It's going to be as big as the internet. It's sort of the next version of the internet in my mind, or the next iteration. There's going to be a ton of things like you being able to buy digital assets. Right now that's digital art, but there's also places like Decentraland where you can go in and buy digital real estate. So think of a video game like World of Warcraft or Fortnite or Minecraft, some of these super huge games. Like, if you could go in there and with real money buy a piece of land, build out your house, your base, your business, your whatever, and people could pay you real money to use that, real money to buy that and own that. It is going to create a place like with the metaverse and kind of the tie-in with a lot of what Zuckerberg's doing. It's going to create a place for people to come and hang out. And if you don't know this, your kids and young people have been doing this forever through video games. A lot of them go into Minecraft, they go into Fortnite so that they can sit in there and just hang out with their friends and do funny things and jump up and down. It's just going to be the next step of that. It's going to be a place you can own. It's going to be a place where you can sit with VR and look at your friends face to face, play cards together, joke around, have a drink of a glass of wine across the country with someone, and have it feel a lot more immersive than like YouTube or Zoom or anything else does. It's just the next layer to that. Some people think it's terrible, people think it's amazing, but here's the reality. It is coming, and there's a huge group of people who are going to participate in it. All of us probably will at some level, but just know that's coming, and that's where sort of crypto and the metaverse all come together. The metaverse isn't just one thing. The metaverse is sort of the immersive use of technology, and crypto is going to be a big part of that. It's going to provide a lot of the tokens, a lot of the monetary system that's going to allow that world to function with real world money instead of just like video game gold or some of these other things that happen in a lot of these role-playing types of games. Anyway, so bottom line is this. Crypto's huge, it's big, you're going to have to do your research and figure it out yourself, but there's no question, it's here to stay, it's the next layer, and it's not just one big bucket. All of those different crypto tokens and dollars and whatever else coins, they all do a specific thing, so don't think of it as one big thing. Really start doing your research on which technologies you think are going to go somewhere. Work with a professional on investing and how to balance that in your portfolio. Certainly it's volatile enough that it does not make any sense to put everything you have or even a huge portion of your assets into that, because at the end of the day, like crypto it's volatile, and some of it's going to go to zero, and some NFTs are going to go to zero. In fact, I think a lot of the art stuff will probably go to zero at some point. But at the end of the day, like, be smart with your money. It's good to understand. It's great to see where technology is going. It can be a great part of your portfolio, but work with a pro, an investment advisor who can help you assess what's right for you. So if you like content like this, definitely please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, drop a comment down below. If you have questions, drop comments down below. I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. I spend a ton of time reading and researching this stuff, but I don't by any means know everything. So I'm just here to give you a big picture perspective of how I'm viewing crypto, where I see it going, and the value that I see there, because I think a lot of people think it's mumbo jumbo. Listen, when texting first came out, I thought it was a joke. I thought, why wouldn't you just call someone? Now what do? Everybody just texts all the time. I have a feeling a lot of these technologies that are coming along, people don't understand them yet, don't see the value yet. We thought social media was kind of a fun, jokey, bloggy thing. Now it's become sort of a central way that people communicate and news and information is disseminated. Crypto's like that. It's the next big wave. How it plays out remains to be seen, but there's going to be some big winners in there, and I'm really excited about it. So anyway, my name is Derick Van Ness. Thank you for stopping by. If you enjoy this kind of content, definitely check out this next video, and it'll give you some new ideas about some of the other tools that you may not be aware of. Like in this one specifically, we talk a little bit about life insurance and what you should know about that. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.